Nestled in a patchwork of fields in southern Lancaster County lies a place where champions are born. Northview Stallion Station was built in 2008 to take advantage of Pennsylvania's breeding industry that was growing by leaps and bounds both in numbers and quality. 2004 Derby and Preakness winner Smarty Jones makes his home here.
The richest race in America is the Breeders' Cup Classic. It was won by Fort Larned last year, and his father stands right up there in that barn. So, and when you look at it, the Eclipse Awards is how we sort of qualify our horses. Two horses nominated for the Horse of the Year are by Pennsylvania sires. That alone should say something that what our state's doing. Now, jump forward. You all watched the Kentucky Derby, I'm sure. Lie if you didn't. But the Oaks is the fillies race. 2 out of the last 3 Oaks winners were foaled and raised in Pennsylvania. Both less than 20 miles from this farm. This year's winner, Princess of Silmar, Ronnie and Betsy Houghton, their farm is 3 miles over there. They've been in Pennsylvania for 50 years. This is their home, this is what they do, and they have an Oaks winner. So we're producing quality thoroughbreds, and we're competitive at the highest level.
Carl McEntee is the bloodstock manager at Northview. He was invited by Representative Bryan Cutler to lead lawmakers on a tour of the farm to highlight its success and how Act 71 funds have supported the industry. This was the law that brought gaming to Pennsylvania and ensured that a portion of the proceeds would support live horse racing and breeding.
Each horse has a $98,000 financial footprint on the state. $98,000 for one horse. We have 142 on this farm. And we're not the only farm in this state that has large numbers of horses. So you think about that. Think about the job creators that are on this farm. Think about the money that's going into this state, the money that's staying in Pennsylvania. We buy all of our hay, all of our feed locally. We're supporting the infrastructure of this state.
On another part of the tour, the group learned about a program that takes in thoroughbreds after their racing days are over. The horses are trained for a number of new purposes, such as therapy animals, trail riders, and even police mounts in Philadelphia.
We had started this program up 5 years ago because there were thoroughbreds, not necessarily from our track, but from other tracks, that when people were done with them, they'd hand them to people to get them off the racetrack, and they would end up at the auction in New Holland, and then therefore on their way to slaughter. There is no equine slaughter, horse slaughter in the United States now. They're trying to start it up again, but so far it hasn't been successful. So these horses, when they were going to slaughter, would have to be transported over the lines into Canada, or the horses further south would go to Mexico. And it's not really a humane way to go as far as the transportation and the feedlots they have to hang out in, especially because you have to remember that these horses are used to being kept in stalls all the time at the racetrack, gallop. They're very fit when they get finished. They're used to having people work with them every day. They're used to human beings being around them all the time. So to throw them in a feedlot is probably not the worst thing that can happen to some horses, but for the thoroughbred race horses, it's very difficult for them to adjust. It's very stressful, much less loading them onto transport trucks and then going over to Canada and being slaughtered. The best thing about our program, I think, is that besides that we all love horses, the racetrack and the Horsemen's Group has actually put their money where their mouth is. Instead of just tossing these horses off to an unknown future, we are fully funded by the racetrack, Parks Racetrack Management, by the Horsemen's Organization, which runs Turning for Home itself, and the owners, every time they start a horse, they add $10 to our coffers, and the jockeys put in $10 per win and $5 for second, which truly shows that across the board, people who own and breed racehorses really care for them after they're finished.
This adoption program, Turning for Home, has served as a model for similar efforts in New York.
When we started the program, we had hopes that other racetracks would be able to do the same thing that we do, because then there wouldn't be so many what we call, or what the industry calls, unwanted horses out there. So what has happened is that we've tweaked our program obviously a lot, as it was the first time that anything had been taken on at this capacity, but our model program has been picked up by other racetracks, at least pieces of it, and mostly in its entirety, the New York tracks have just picked it up. They opened their doors to their program called Take the Lead, a nonprofit organization that has used exactly our model plan. And New York has NYRA, New York Racing Association, covers Saratoga, Belmont, and Aqueduct. So that's going to be a huge program. And we are very flattered that they did it, and we're also saying, yes, we knew it could work. And it's just great to have the industry all trying looking at us, watching us, and instead of criticizing us, trying to emulate what we've been doing. And it's all about the horses. And the more of these horses that can go on into safe homes, then if that can happen, then I think our mission is accomplished.
Whether they're involved with the first days of a wobbly foal or finding the last loving home for a retired racer, those in the horse racing industry are hopeful that the recent success of Pennsylvania racing will go on.